Before tonight's tale begins, answer me this. If you were locked in a tower with no door and only one window, would you wait for rescue or find your own way out? Comment, wait, or escape right now. Because tonight's story is about a girl with hair as long as hope itself, imprisoned by a witch who claimed to love her. This is Rapunzel, the true story of captivity, freedom, and the terrible price we pay for both. Close your eyes, settle in, and let me take you to a time when gardens held forbidden fruit, towers touched the clouds, and sometimes the people who say they love you are the ones who lock you away. Once upon a time, in a land not so different from our own, there lived a man and his wife who wanted nothing more than a child. They had been married for 7 years, and each year their longing grew stronger. They prayed. They hoped. They made wishes on stars and threw coins into wells. And finally, when they had almost given up, the wife discovered she was with child. Their joy knew no bounds. The husband worked harder than ever, preparing their small cottage for the baby. The wife spent her days sewing tiny clothes and singing lullabies to the life growing inside her. Everything seemed perfect. Their cottage stood at the edge of a village, beside a high stone wall. The wall was ancient, built of stones so perfectly fitted that not even moss could grow between them. It stretched up twice the height of a man, and beyond it lay something extraordinary, a garden. But this was not just any garden. This was the most magnificent garden anyone had ever seen, or rather, anyone who had dared to peek over that wall. Flowers bloomed in colors that seemed impossible, roses in shades of midnight blue and silver, lilies that glowed faintly in the twilight, morning glories that sang quietly at dawn. Fruit trees bent under the weight of their burden. Apples, pears, plums, so perfect they looked like they'd been painted by an artist's hand. And the vegetables, oh, the vegetables grew in such abundance, in such perfection, that it seemed touched by magic. Because it was. This garden belonged to an enchantress, a witch of great power, who lived in a manor house beyond the wall. Some said she had lived there for 100 years. Others said 200. No one knew for certain, and no one dared ask. What everyone did know was this: you did not enter the witch's garden. You did not take anything from it, and you certainly did not make her angry. The man and his wife understood this as well as anyone. They had heard the stories, but understanding something and living by it are two different things, especially when desperation enters the picture. The wife, now heavy with child, would stand at their upper window each day, looking down into the garden. From that vantage point, she could see over the wall, could see the rows and rows of lush vegetables growing in the dark, rich soil. And one plant in particular caught her eye: Rapunzel. Now, Rapunzel is a leafy green plant, something like lettuce, but with a slightly bitter taste, often used in salads. In that enchanted garden, it grew in magnificent rows, its leaves deep green and vibrant, glistening with morning dew, looking crisp and perfect, and impossibly fresh. The pregnant wife found herself thinking about that Rapunzel. At first, it was just a passing thought. Those vegetables look lovely. But thoughts have a way of growing, especially when they take root in the mind of someone whose body is changing, whose cravings are strong, whose reason is overwhelmed by need. She began to crave it. Not just want it, but crave it with an intensity that frightened her. She could taste it when she closed her eyes. She dreamed about it at night. She stopped eating the food her husband prepared because nothing tasted right. Nothing except the Rapunzel she couldn't have. Days passed, and she grew pale, then thin. Her eyes became hollow. She picked at her meals, pushing food around her plate without eating. "My love, what's wrong?" her husband asked, growing more worried each day. "You must eat. Think of our child." "I am thinking of our child," she whispered. "And I know this sounds mad, but I must have that Rapunzel from the garden beyond our wall. I must have it, or I fear I will die, and our baby with me." The husband was horrified. "You know I cannot. That garden belongs to the witch. If she catches me, then I will waste away," his wife said. And there was such desperation in her voice that he knew she meant it. He had heard of women in her condition developing strange cravings, overwhelming needs that could not be denied. And looking at her now, so pale, so thin, so close to the edge, he believed that she would indeed waste away if her need was not satisfied. So that night, as darkness fell and the moon rose over the wall, the husband made his decision. He would take just a little, just a handful. Surely the witch, if she was as powerful as they said, wouldn't miss such a small amount. He waited until the village was asleep, until even the dogs had stopped barking. Then, with his heart hammering in his chest, he approached the wall. It was tall, but there were enough handholds that a determined man could climb it. He scraped his hands and tore his shirt, but he made it to the top. Looking down, he saw the garden spread before him in the moonlight. It was even more beautiful at night. Flowers glowed softly. The fountain in the center sparkled like diamonds, and the vegetables seemed to almost hum with vitality. And there, just below him, were the rows of Rapunzel. He dropped down into the garden, landing softly on the grass. Every sound seemed impossibly loud. His breathing, his footsteps, even the whisper of the wind through the plants. His hands shook as he reached for the Rapunzel, pulling up a handful, then another, stuffing them into the sack he'd brought. Just a little more, he thought. Just enough to satisfy her craving. But as he reached for a third handful, a voice cut through the night like a knife. "How dare you?" The man froze, his blood turning to ice. He turned slowly, and there she was, the witch. She stood behind him, having appeared from nowhere. Or perhaps she had been there all along, watching. She was neither young nor old, neither beautiful nor ugly, but somewhere in between, in that ageless way that some people have. She wore a simple dark dress and a cloak, but there was power in her eyes, in the way she held herself, in the fury radiating from her, like heat from a fire. "You creep into my garden like a thief," she said, her voice low and dangerous. "And you steal what is mine. Do you know what I do to thieves?" The man fell to his knees, the Rapunzel spilling from his sack. "Please, I beg you. My wife is with child, and she craves this plant so desperately I feared she would die without it. I didn't mean any harm. You only what? Thought you could take what you wanted without consequence?" The witch circled him slowly, and he could feel her anger, her power, like a physical presence. Everything has a price. Every gift must be paid for. Did you think this garden grew by accident? That its beauty and bounty came from nothing? "I'm sorry," the man choked out. "I'll do anything. I'll pay you whatever you ask. I'll work for you. You'll give me your child." The words hung in the air between them, impossible and terrible. "What?" the man whispered. The witch knelt down so she was eye level with him. "Your wife craves Rapunzel? Fine, take all you want. Take armfuls of it. Fill your sack, come back tomorrow for more. Feed her until she's satisfied. But when your child is born, you will give her to me. This is the price. I can't. You can. And you will. Or I can let you go home to watch your wife waste away, knowing you could have saved her. Your choice." What could he do? What would any desperate person do, caught between two impossible choices? He agreed. He gave his word, spoke his promise there in the moonlit garden. And the witch smiled. "Take your Rapunzel," she said, "and remember our bargain." The man climbed back over the wall with his sack full of Rapunzel, his hands shaking, his mind racing. Perhaps she would forget. Perhaps she wasn't serious. Perhaps when the time came, he could find a way out of it. But deep down, he knew. A bargain made with a witch is not easily broken. His wife devoured the Rapunzel with desperate hunger, and for the first time in weeks, she smiled. "More," she said the next day. "I need more." And so the husband returned to the garden, night after night. And each time the witch appeared, watched him gather the plants, and reminded him, "Don't forget our bargain." The wife grew healthy again, pink returning to her cheeks, strength to her limbs. Her belly swelled as the baby grew. She never asked where her husband got the Rapunzel. Perhaps she didn't want to know. And then, on a cold winter night, the baby was born. A girl, perfect and beautiful, with eyes the color of the summer sky, and a cry that was strong and healthy. The mother wept with joy. The father held his daughter, looked down at her tiny, perfect face, and felt his heart break. There was a knock at the door. The father knew who it would be. He had known this moment would come, had dreaded it every single day of his wife's pregnancy. His wife looked at him, confused. Who would visit at this hour? He said nothing. He simply opened the door. The witch stood on their threshold, and she did not need to speak. Her eyes went to the baby in the mother's arms, and she smiled. "No," the mother said, suddenly understanding. "No, no, no." "A bargain was made," the witch said simply, "and I have come to collect what is mine." "Please," the father begged, falling to his knees. "Take anything else. Our cottage, our savings, our lives, but not our child." "I don't want your cottage or your gold," the witch said. "I want what was promised." The mother clutched the baby to her chest, weeping. "I'll die without her. She's everything. She's our whole world." The witch's expression softened just slightly. "She will be mine, too. I will care for her. I will raise her as my own. She will want for nothing except her real parents," the mother sobbed. "Sometimes," the witch said, and there was something almost sad in her voice, "the price of desire is higher than we imagine. You wanted Rapunzel. You couldn't live without it. Well, this is the cost." And with that, she stepped forward and took the baby from the mother's arms. The mother screamed. The father wept. But the witch was already walking away into the night, the baby wrapped in her cloak, and by the time they ran to the door, she had vanished as though she had never been there at all. The couple mourned as though their daughter had died, and in a way, she had died to them. At least, taken away, before they had even given her a name. But the witch gave her a name. She called her Rapunzel, after the plant that had cost her parents everything. The witch took the baby far away to a cottage deep in the forest where no paths led and no travelers wandered. It was a small house, but comfortable, with a thatched roof and a garden of its own, and a stream that ran nearby with water as clear as glass. And there, the witch raised Rapunzel as her daughter. Now, you might expect that a witch would be cruel, that she would treat the stolen child harshly. But that's not what happened. The witch, whose name was Gothel, though few knew it, loved Rapunzel in her own way. She fed her well, dressed her in nice clothes, taught her to read and write, to sing and sew. She gave her books and toys, told her stories by the fire, and kissed her forehead good night. But love can be a cage, and kindness can be a chain. Rapunzel grew up knowing nothing but the cottage and the forest immediately around it. Gothel told her that the world beyond was dangerous, filled with wicked people who would hurt her, with men who couldn't be trusted, with diseases and disasters, and 1,000 terrible things. Out there, you are not safe, Gothel would say, holding young Rapunzel's face in her hands. But here, with me, you are protected, always. And Rapunzel believed her. Why wouldn't she? Gothel was the only mother she had ever known. She was all Rapunzel had in the world. Still, sometimes Rapunzel would look out through the cottage window at the forest beyond, at the birds flying freely through the trees, and she would feel something stirring in her chest. Not quite longing. She didn't know there was anything to long for, but something. A question she didn't yet know how to ask. The years passed peacefully. Rapunzel learned everything Gothel taught her. She had a beautiful voice and would sing while she worked in the garden. She was clever with her hands, creating beautiful things on her loom. And her hair, oh, her hair was remarkable. It had been golden when she was born, and it stayed golden as she grew. But unlike most children whose hair is cut regularly, Rapunzel's hair was never trimmed. Gothel wouldn't allow it. "Your hair is special," she told the girl. "It must never be cut. Promise me." And Rapunzel, trusting as children do, promised. By the time she was 8, her hair reached her waist. By 10, it touched the floor. By 12, it was so long she had to be careful not to step on it when she walked. Gothel would brush it every night, 100 strokes, and braid it carefully so it wouldn't tangle. Rapunzel sometimes wondered why her hair was so important, but whenever she asked, Gothel would simply say, "Because it's beautiful. Because it's yours. Because some things in this world must be preserved exactly as they are." On Rapunzel's 12th birthday, Gothel told her they were going on a journey. "Where are we going?" Rapunzel asked, excited. She had never left the cottage before. "To your new home," Gothel said. "New home? But I like it here." "You're getting older," Gothel explained. "Soon you'll be a woman, and the world becomes more dangerous for women. I've prepared a place where you'll be truly safe, where nothing and no one can ever hurt you." They walked for hours through the forest, deeper than Rapunzel had ever gone. Eventually, they came to a clearing, and there stood something Rapunzel had never seen before. A tower. It rose up from the forest floor like a stone finger, pointing at the sky, tall and impossibly smooth, built of gray stone that seemed to have no seams or mortar. There was no door that Rapunzel could see, no stairs leading up, just smooth walls rising up and up and up, until finally, near the very top, there was a single window. "This is your new home," Gothel said. Rapunzel stared up at it, a cold feeling spreading in her stomach. "But how do I get inside?" "I will show you." Gothel spoke words in a language Rapunzel didn't understand, and suddenly Rapunzel felt herself lifting off the ground. She gasped as she floated upward, gently but unstoppably, rising higher and higher until she reached the window. She grabbed onto the sill and pulled herself inside, her heart pounding. The room was circular, following the curve of the tower. It was modestly furnished. A small bed, a wooden chair, a table, a trunk for her clothes, and a loom identical to the one she'd had at the cottage. There were shelves with books, a few candles, a small mirror. The stone walls were bare and cold, and the single window let in light, but also made clear how high up she was. "Gothel," she called down, her voice small and frightened. "How will I get down? How will you visit me?" Gothel looked up at her, and even from that distance, Rapunzel could see her smile. "Let down your hair, child." "What?" "Your hair. Let it hang down from the window." Not understanding, but obedient, Rapunzel loosened her braid and let it fall. She watched in amazement as it cascaded down and down and down, all the way to the ground, where Gothel stood. It was so long now that it pooled on the grass below, even while secured at Rapunzel's end. Gothel grasped the hair with both hands, tested its strength, and then, incredibly, began to climb. She used Rapunzel's hair like a rope, hand over hand, her feet bracing against the tower wall, climbing steadily upward. Rapunzel braced herself, feeling the pull on her scalp, wincing but not crying out. It hurt, but not unbearably. Her hair was incredibly strong, stronger than it had any right to be. Finally, Gothel reached the window and climbed inside, barely out of breath. "This is how I will visit you," Gothel said. "Every day I will come, bringing food and supplies. I will call up to you, and you will let down your hair, and I will climb up to see you. This is how we will be together." "But why must I stay here?" Rapunzel asked, tears starting to fall. "What have I done wrong?" "Nothing, my darling. Nothing at all." Gothel pulled her into an embrace. "You are perfect, and that is exactly why you must be protected. The world would destroy something as beautiful and pure as you. Here you are safe. Here no harm can reach you." "But I'm alone," Rapunzel whispered. "You have me," Gothel said firmly, "and I have you. That's all we need." And so it was decided. From that day forward, Rapunzel lived in the tower. Each morning, Gothel would come through the forest, would call up, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." And Rapunzel would lower her golden braid, and Gothel would climb up. She would bring bread and cheese, fresh fruit and vegetables, sometimes a new book or some thread for weaving. She would stay for a few hours, talking with Rapunzel, checking that everything was well, and then she would climb back down and disappear into the forest, not to return until the next day. At first, Rapunzel cried herself to sleep every night. She missed the cottage, missed the freedom to walk outside, missed the simple ability to open a door and go wherever she wished. But humans are adaptable creatures, and slowly, Rapunzel adjusted to her new life. She learned the rhythms of the tower, the way the light moved across the floor as the day progressed, the sounds the wind made through her window at night, the view of the stars when the sky was clear. She sang to pass the time. Her voice had always been beautiful, but now, with nothing else to do and only the forest to hear her, it grew even more lovely. She sang songs Gothel had taught her, songs she made up herself, songs that seemed to come from some place deep inside her that she didn't fully understand. And sometimes, when she sang, she felt a little less alone. Time in the tower moved strangely. Days blended into weeks, weeks into months, months into years. Rapunzel turned 13, then 14, then 15. Her hair continued to grow. By now, it was so long that when she stood, it pooled around her feet like a golden carpet. When she let it down from the window, there was enough for Gothel to climb and still have length left over at the bottom. Rapunzel asked once why it grew so long when most people's hair stopped at a certain point. "Because you're special," Gothel said. "Because you're mine." And something in the way she said it made Rapunzel not ask again. The seasons changed outside her window. Spring brought birds building nests in the nearby trees, and Rapunzel would watch them for hours, fascinated by their freedom. Summer made the tower unbearably hot, the stone walls holding the heat until night. Autumn painted the forest in colors of fire. Winter brought snow that made everything quiet and still. And Rapunzel would watch the flakes fall and wonder what it would feel like to touch them. She read every book Gothel brought her until she had them memorized. She wove intricate patterns on her loom until she ran out of thread and had to wait for more. She sang until her throat was sore. And slowly, so slowly, she barely noticed it happening, questions began to form in her mind. Why was she really here? Was the world truly as dangerous as Gothel claimed? Or was that just what she was told? And if she was so precious, so loved, why did love feel so much like imprisonment? She never spoke these questions aloud. Gothel was her mother, the only family she had. To question her would be ungrateful, wicked, wrong. But the questions remained, growing like seeds in dark soil, waiting for light. On her 16th birthday, Gothel brought a special meal: roasted chicken, fresh bread, a small cake with honey. They ate together by candlelight, and Gothel told her stories of the world outside. "There's a kingdom not far from here," Gothel said, "with a castle and a king. But the nobles there are cruel, and the common people suffer. You're fortunate to be away from such things." "Have you been there?" Rapunzel asked. "Once, long ago." "What was it like?" Gothel's eyes grew distant. "Loud, crowded, full of people who want things they cannot have and will hurt others to get them. You're better off here, Rapunzel. Trust me." And Rapunzel wanted to trust her. She truly did. But that night, after Gothel had gone, Rapunzel stood at her window, looking out at the forest, at the stars above, and she whispered to herself, What if she's wrong? The thought terrified her, but once thought, it could not be unthought. Days passed, weeks. The questions grew louder, and Rapunzel began to feel something she had never felt before. Not quite rebellion, but a stirring of her own will, separate from what Gothel wanted, separate from what she'd been told to believe. She was 17 years old, and she had never made a single decision for herself. Every aspect of her life had been controlled, shaped, decided by Gothel. Even her love for Gothel, was that real? Or was it simply what she'd been taught to feel? She didn't know, and not knowing began to eat at her. Then, one day in late spring, something happened that would change everything. Rapunzel was singing, as she often did in the afternoons. She sang a melody she had composed herself, wordless and haunting, expressing feelings she didn't have words for, loneliness and longing, and a yearning for something she couldn't name. Her voice carried far through the forest, echoing among the trees. And someone heard it. There was a prince who lived in the kingdom Gothel had mentioned. His name was well known in the land, though Rapunzel had never heard it. He was young, 18 years old, and like most young princes, he had everything he could want: wealth, status, education, a future throne. But he was restless. The castle felt suffocating, the courtly life felt false, and he found himself escaping more and more often into the forest to hunt, to ride, to be away from the expectations and performances of royal life. On this particular day, he had ridden deeper into the forest than usual, following a deer, then simply exploring when the deer escaped. His hunting companions had fallen behind, and he found himself alone in a part of the forest he'd never seen before. And that's when he heard it, singing. A voice so beautiful, so pure and achingly lovely, that it stopped him mid-stride. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, echoing through the trees, impossible to locate, but impossible to ignore. He stood, frozen, listening, and he felt something crack open in his chest, a feeling he'd never experienced before, like homesickness for a place he'd never been, like longing for something he'd never known existed. When the singing stopped, he found he was shaking. He followed the direction the voice had come from, pushing through undergrowth, leading his horse by the reins. He searched for nearly an hour before he found it. The clearing, the tower rising impossible and strange from the forest floor. He circled it, looking for an entrance and finding none. Looking up, he saw the window high above, and silhouetted against the light inside, a figure, a woman, he thought. though he couldn't see clearly from this distance. "Hello?" he called up. The singing stopped abruptly. There was a pause, then a voice called down, "Who's there?" It was her, the singer, and her speaking voice was as lovely as her singing had been. "My name is—" But he stopped. If he gave his title, his position, would she even believe him? And did it matter? "My name is Henrik," he said instead. Just his name, not his title. "I heard you singing. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard." There was another pause. Then, You heard me. The whole forest must have heard you. You have an incredible voice. I thank you. No one has ever—" She stopped. "You should go. If she finds you here—" "Who?" "My mother. She'll be back soon. And if she finds someone here, she'll be angry." "I don't understand," Henrik said. "Why are you in that tower? Is there no door?" "There's no door. Only the window. I live here. By choice?" Another long pause. Then, quietly, "I don't know if I know what choice means." Henrik's heart ached at that. "What's your name?" "Rapunzel." "Rapunzel," he repeated. The name was unusual, but it fit somehow. "Why do you stay in there?" "Because Mother says the world outside is dangerous. That I'm safer here." "And do you believe that?" He heard her intake of breath, as though the question had struck something deep. I don't know. I've never known anything else." Henrik wanted to say more, wanted to tell her that no one should be locked away like this, that this wasn't protection, but imprisonment. But he heard sounds in the forest, someone approaching. "I have to go," he said. "But Rapunzel, I'll come back, if you want me to." "Yes," she said quickly. "Yes, please." And Henrik melted back into the forest just before Gothel emerged from the trees. He returned the next day, and the next. But he couldn't reach Rapunzel. The tower was too high. He watched, hidden. And on the third day, he saw Gothel arrive. "Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Let down your hair!" The golden braid tumbled down. Gothel grasped it and climbed. Henrik understood. He waited until Gothel left, then approached. "Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Let down your hair!" Rapunzel, thinking it was Gothel returning, lowered her braid. But when the climber reached the window, she gasped to see Henrik. "Please don't be frightened," he said quickly. "I mean no harm." They talked for hours. Henrik told her about the world beyond, cities and villages, forests and rivers, people and festivals and freedom. Rapunzel drank in every word. "Why do you stay here?" he asked. I have no choice. But you do. You could leave. How? I could bring a rope tomorrow. We could get you down. You could be free. Rapunzel's heart soared. But then she thought of Gothel's warnings. I don't know. She raised me. She cares for me. Does she? Or does she simply want to keep you? That night, Rapunzel couldn't sleep. She thought about everything. The tower, the years of isolation, the constant reminders of danger. Henrik returned every evening. Each time, Rapunzel felt herself growing stronger, more certain. They made a plan. Henrik would bring silk thread, and Rapunzel would weave it into a ladder. When it was long enough, she would climb down. But Rapunzel made a terrible mistake. One evening, when Gothel climbed into the tower, Rapunzel said without thinking, "Mother Gothel, why is it that you are so much heavier than the prince? He reaches the window much faster." The words were out before she could stop them. Gothel's face transformed. Fury like Rapunzel had never seen. "What did you say? What, prince? I didn't mean, you ungrateful, wicked child," Gothel screamed. "After everything I've done for you, I saved you, protected you, and this is how you repay me. You imprisoned me," Rapunzel shouted back, her own anger breaking free. "You locked me away and called it love. I gave you everything except freedom." Gothel grabbed Rapunzel's braid, and with shears she pulled from her cloak. She cut it off in one terrible motion. Rapunzel screamed as years of growth fell away. "You want freedom," Gothel hissed. "Then have it." With her magic, Gothel transported Rapunzel far away to a desert wasteland where nothing grew. She left her there with nothing. Then Gothel returned to the tower with the severed braid. She secured it to the window hook and waited. That evening, Henrik came. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." The golden braid tumbled down. Henrik climbed, his heart full of hope. But when he reached the window, he found Gothel. "Looking for your precious girl?" she cackled. "She's gone. You'll never see her again." "What have you done with her?" "I've given her the freedom she wanted. And now I'll give you the same." Gothel pushed him. Henrik fell from the tower, down into the thorny brambles below. The thorns pierced his eyes, and when he stopped falling, the world had gone dark. He was blind. Rapunzel wandered the desert, surviving on whatever she could find. Bitter roots, morning dew, occasional small creatures. She was alone, truly alone. For the first time, she had wanted freedom, and now she had it. But it was nothing like she had imagined. Time passed. Rapunzel learned to survive. She grew thin, but strong, clever, but cautious. She found a small oasis and made it her home. And one day, she discovered she was with child, twins, born of her brief time with Henrik. She raised them alone in the wilderness, teaching them to be strong, to be free, to never let anyone cage them. The prince, blind and grieving, wandered the forests for years, searching for the tower, for any sign of Rapunzel, guided only by memory. More years passed. The children grew, a boy and a girl. Rapunzel taught them everything she knew. Then one day, the prince found himself in a desert he had never crossed. And there, faintly, he heard something that stopped him. Singing. That voice. That impossible, beautiful voice. "Rapunzel?" he called. The singing stopped. "Who's there?" He followed her voice until he felt her hands on his face, and he knew beyond doubt that he had found her. "It's you," he whispered. "I've searched so long." Rapunzel wept, and her tears fell onto his ruined eyes. And whether by magic, or love, or fate, his vision began to return. Blurry at first, then clearer, until he could see her face. "You're alive," she said. "So are you." Two small children peeked out from behind rocks. "Mama, who is this?" "Your father," Rapunzel said, and smiled. The prince brought Rapunzel and their children back to his kingdom, where they were married. Rapunzel never saw Gothel again. Her hair never grew back to its impossible length. She kept it short, a reminder that she was free. And whenever her children asked about the tower, she would tell them, "Sometimes the people who say they love you the most are the ones who cage you the worst. Real love gives you wings, not walls." And so ends the tale of Rapunzel, a story of captivity and freedom, of false love and true love, of a girl who learned that the bravest thing we can do is leave behind those who claim to protect us, but only seek to control. Sleep now, and dream of open skies and unbound hearts. Good night.